light. Just keep going straight, and then you're going to see that weird looking staircase with a fence on it. And then when you're standing in front of that, just take a left. There's only 3 more blocks to Faneuil Hall. It's like a 15-20 minute walk tops. Or you can just jump on the Green Line across the street. Go inbound to Haymarket. That's only 2 stops away. This is what I recommend for people. If you'd like to do the whole Freedom Trail, but you don't want to exhaust yourself, because people make the mistake of walking it out and then walking it back, and they end up walking 5 miles and they just exhaust themselves. I recommend when my friends are in town and they want me to show them around, I usually take them from the beginning, like where the graveyards are, and then walk them to Faneuil Hall and then chill out there for a while. Don't do the whole thing at once. Get something to eat, get some lunch or something. Ask anybody where the aquarium is. At the bottom of State Street, there's a ferry boat, and it's only $3.50, and it brings you out to the Bunker Hill Monument, which is straight ahead there. Or it brings you to the battleship, and then you can walk up to the monument. So it saves you a whole bunch of walking. And then you can take the ferry boat back, and then at that point, all you have to do is the north end. Save that for later in the day, maybe dinner. A lot of Grand Italian restaurant. But that monument looks a lot like the bridge. The bridge was modeled after it. That was the battle for Bunker Hill. I think I pointed out in the inventory. It was a British victory. They were the mightiest army in the world, but it wasn't worth taking the hill because they lost so many soldiers. They lost over 800 wounded and over 200 dead. And it was the first time they saw guerrilla warfare in the colonies. 2 months before that battle was Lexington and Concord, the morning after Martyrs' Ride. And the British Army was able to steal back tons of gunpowder in Concord, so that left them very low on ammunition. And they're outnumbered 2 to 1. So they had to resort to shooting at officers. By shooting an officer, 2 soldiers would have to carry him off the field, so you get rid of 3 guys in 1 shot. So the 800 wounded hobble back to Boston, and as they're licking their wounds, the plague sweeps through town, and the morale's crushed. And then the winter comes, and they didn't like fighting in the winter because you could lose more men to the weather than the actual enemy. So the following March, things start to melt. There's a big standoff between George Washington and the British General Howe. And right as they were ready to go at it again, a big storm rolled through Boston Harbor. And for the sake of his men, General Howe evacuated, and it never came back. The war went on another 7 years. Boston was protected by the Harbor Islands. And the fighting went on to New York and then down south. And that's our St. Patrick's Day celebration evacuation. Okay, so in order to get out of this river, we have to put on the front wheel drive. And that is going to pull us out. They call them ducks, they're really D-U-K-Ws. The letter D is the 4th letter of the alphabet, and the 4th year of World War II is when they started making ducks, so D is 1942. U is utility vehicle, K is front wheel drive, K is a line down with an arrow pointing to the front of it, that's front wheel drive. W is for 2 axles underneath the duck. When you turn the wheel, they go boom, it looks like a W. So let's go with the ducks. The fact that the front of the boat looks like a duckbill is just a coincidence. A lot of boats are shaped like that. That's just where it elevated off the wheels, off the ground for the wheels, looks like a duckbill. And make sure everybody has their heads and hands inside. Tight squeeze coming up. Again, let's hear it from Joseph. Great job, Joe. Woo! the town about the bank robbers. This is where Ben Affleck works, over there right here. So the cops came looking for him. Another Boston crime movie. That skate park was supposed to be done 10 years ago. They just finished it a couple of years ago. That's where they threw all the debris from the old Boston Garden. Big landfill, asbestos. It took 8 years to clean it all up. All around the city, you'll see the blue bikes, the bike rentals. Here's one coming up here. I wouldn't recommend riding a bike through downtown. It's kind of treacherous, a lot of trucks, a lot of narrow streets. I would definitely take one of those around the river, though. It's a nice, safe bike path with no cars. See that big noise down below? That's the W, the shifting rear axles. The axles don't shift. The deck could fall inside. Here's something to do. If you look over to your left, you'll see a big clock tower. It's got a big pointy top on it. You'll see it if you go to Faneuil Hall. That's open to the public if you want to go up there. It's the best view of downtown Boston. It's open from 2 to 3:30 and then 6 to 7:30. It's the best view of downtown Boston. I believe it's like $8, but it's well worth it. You can see all the harbor islands up there. And when you go up there and you look down on the city, you'll see that the downtown is not that big. It's just a strange cluster of buildings with narrow streets. That's what I usually do when my friends are in town. I go up there a couple times a year. All the money goes to kids' charity, so it's well worth it. Alright, so we're going to be heading into the museum now real quick and end the tour. If you need the restrooms, just go in the museum, take a left. Make sure to gather up all your stuff, grab your cell phones, bags, and jackets, and all that stuff. On the ceiling, along with those names, all those soldiers and sailors, you'll see every now and then says Kilroy was here. You can see it. Right there. Some of you might recognize that. That was written as graffiti all over the world, in Europe, Asia, Africa, all over the United States. Nobody knew what it meant until Life magazine put an ad in their magazine. They said, hey, if you can prove you're Kilroy, come to us, we'll give you a big check. And they found a guy named James Kilroy. He worked here in Massachusetts during World War II at a shipyard. He was a rivet counter. He'd count the rivets and make a chalk mark on the boat, and the riveters were paid per rivet. So they would wipe it off when he wasn't around. He'd come back, count them again, they get paid double. So he found out they were cheating, and he started writing it with a wax crayon, so they couldn't wipe it off. And then World War II, they started painting the boats, and the paint wouldn't stick to the wax. So the soldiers were staring at that the whole time. And they'd land in other countries and write it on walls as a signal to other Americans to say, hey, we've been here, it's safe to go. I had no idea what it meant, but only an American would be familiar with it. Then they'd come home after the war and, as a joke, write it in the hometown walls. Give a huge catchphrase. Ended up in movies, literary references, cartoons. If you don't have a map, you might want to grab one from our duck wagon. Actually, it's closed right now, but we have a dispatch booth up ahead, and you can grab one of them from there. Page 24 of the Quack magazine's a decent map. You don't want to walk around Boston without some sort of guide or a map. A couple more speed bumps here, they're pretty high. Joseph and I are going to walk down the back first, so if you can just hang in your seats for a few more seconds, that'll give us a chance to get by you. when you're coming down the stairs, please go slow. It might be a little slippery from the river water. If anybody needs assistance coming off the dock, just tell me. I'll be happy to help you. If you have any questions about directions or anything, just ask me. I'll be hanging out for a little bit.